Welcome to the Florence Studio. I'm Laura Thompson, and I had promised, for those of you who saw the last lesson, I had promised this week to give a lesson on complementary colors, but I've decided to do this one first because I think it's really important. And so I'd like to talk about how to be your own best teacher. In other words, the voice in your head. Now, having taught for many years as founder and principal painting instructor of the Florence Studio here in Italy, and also in the last year having produced a 4-hour instructional painting video where I had to also be my own teacher, and also adding some online teaching for students during this strange time that we're all finding ourselves in with COVID. I've been giving some thought as to how our students learn best. And for many, the opportunity to attend workshops or an art academy it's a perfect solution. And with a good teacher, this can be a great way to learn. But the last year has seen many students having to try to adapt their learning process to at-home study. And even before this, there were some who simply couldn't travel, work, life, jobs, expense, all got in the way of maybe their attending in-person learning. So designing their own curriculum at home, or your curriculum at home, with perhaps the guidance of a teacher or an instructional video, but they've also had to become their own instructor in many ways. So let's talk about this a little bit. If you are both the student but also your own teacher, I want you to consider how you would play the teacher role with another student. So what I mean by that is, if for part of your training you're your own teacher, you have to consider, would you want a teacher who never encouraged improvement, or one who constantly said things like, "Oh, but that's wrong. Why can't you do it right? That doesn't look good," or "that doesn't look correct, and I've already told you how to do that"? Or would you prefer a teacher who comments, "This is interesting. What could we have done differently here?" Or, "Let's try this. How about if we consider it this way?" So I'm going to tell you a little story. I had a student who came every year, and one time I had mostly new students in the group, but Bob had been with me before, and he knew my teaching methods, and I had walked up to one of the other students to give a critique. And I had started with, I looked at their painting and I said, for example, I see you did darken the value there. That looks better. What a difference that made to the light effect next to it. And here, I pointed out, I see you've corrected the drawing as we had discussed earlier. It's much better. The proportions are accurate now. And then I stood back and I took another look at another area of the painting. And I said, now this is interesting. To which Bob, who knows me well and has been my student before, called out loudly to the group while laughing, "Interesting." She said, "Interesting. That means you did something wrong." And the whole class just cracked up. But that is really my point, is my students over the years have often told me that they still hear, poor students, they still hear my voice at home in their studios. And they say that they appreciate my patience. And one of my great students this week, as I explained a passage of her painting, she quoted back to me one of my own stories that I had told her in previous years. As I explained what I thought was maybe happening, she said, "Oh, that's just like your nose story." Anyway, that's a story that maybe I'll tell another time on one of these little mini videos. It's in our oil painting secrets video. But for now, the point is just that. It is amazing to me that students have taken what I say so seriously and that they remember and they carry these remarks and these stories and the analogies forward into their own future work at home in their own studios. So it's an awesome responsibility, but what a tremendous opportunity as a teacher. So now, though, this is the point, this is the lesson that I'm getting at. If you are your own teacher, what voice will you hear in your head as you move forward? A positive, encouraging one with constructive criticism intended to help you? Or will you hear constantly the voice that says, something's not right, and it's just not working, or I don't know what's wrong, and why can't I do it right? Your own voice in your head must be the teacher you would want to have in a classroom or in a workshop situation, and one you would be willing to pay for, perhaps, and to spend time with learning. So, the negative voice in your head will not help you. And let's face it, if it was someone other than you saying those things as you learn, it's likely you would fire them. You would just quit the class. With yourself, you likely already have the passion or you wouldn't be doing it, but you also need patience and persistence. Passion, patience, persistence. The three keys to learning and doing anything well. Now, finally, if in-person lessons are not possible for you, then, well, videos, sure. Online mentorship, like we also offer, are great options. But it must not be a passive approach. No popcorn and a glass of pop while you watch a video. You must interact. To learn well, I'm reminded of something that my mom used to say. Doctors are taught, see one, that is, learn the theory, see a video, watch a demonstration with another artist, those kinds of things. So see one, and then do one. Do one, try it yourself. And then finally, teach one to yourself, to a friend, to reinforce the ideas and the methods that you've learned. And then repeat it, repetition. So don't just watch or read a lesson just once. Go back, and after you've tried it, rewatch or take another workshop, and you'll find that you better understand. It will be like, oh wait, I forgot about that. What would that option have done to my last little piece that I tried? Maybe I'll go back to that painting and change it. Or maybe I'll just remember that and try that next time. Okay? Be kind to yourself as you learn. Be for yourself the teacher that would inspire you, not the one you would fire. Okay, so that's it for today. Next time, I promise, we'll talk about the complementary colors, and we'll get back on track with learning about how you can make them work to your advantage and how to use them in your favor in a painting, in your work. But in the meantime, happy painting, everyone.